For what, 4,500 years? It's just been sitting there on the edge of the desert, a silent stone mountain that's been guarding its secrets for centuries. The Great Pyramid of Giza, it's so much more than a tomb. It's this massive engineering puzzle that has stumped pretty much everyone for millennia. So, okay, let's dive in and see if we can piece together the clues to one of history's greatest mysteries.
I mean, think about it. Every single other wonder of the ancient world, they're gone, crumbled to dust. But the Great Pyramid, it's still here. It was a massive achievement even way back then, and today it's just this incredible symbol of what people are capable of.
And to really get your head around its scale, just think about this. Modern skyscrapers, like the Burj Khalifa, they might hold the title of world's tallest for a few years, maybe a couple of decades if they're lucky. The Great Pyramid held that record for over 3,500 years. This wasn't just another building. It was meant to last forever.
And that, right there, brings us to the heart of it all. How on earth did a civilization without modern tech, without even iron tools, build a monument so huge and so precise that we're still scratching our heads about it today? Well, to find that answer, we first have to understand the why. See, the reason they built this thing wasn't just about ego. It was tied into the deepest beliefs of the Egyptian people. We're talking about a matter of cosmic survival.
You have to remember, the pharaoh was the center of their entire universe. He was a god on Earth. And his journey to the afterlife, well, that was supposed to guarantee that Egypt itself would continue to thrive. So the pyramid wasn't just a tomb, it was a resurrection machine, a kind of launch pad to send the king's soul up to the stars.
But they didn't just wake up one day and build this perfect shape. No way. It was the result of 100 years of trial and, well, a lot of error. They started with these simple, low, mud brick tombs called mastabas. Then they took a huge leap with the step pyramid, the first massive stone building ever. They had some major engineering hiccups, like the famous bent pyramid, where they actually had to change the angle halfway up to stop it from collapsing. Every mistake was a lesson learned, until finally, Khufu's father, Snifru, nailed it and built the first true smooth-sided pyramid.
Okay, so the Egyptians had the motivation, and they'd perfected the design. But a blueprint is one thing, you still need the people to actually build it. And that leads us to the next big question. Who were these people who could pull something like this off?
For centuries, the popular image, from movies and old stories, was of thousands upon thousands of slaves being forced to do the work. But is that what the actual evidence tells us? Not even close. The archaeological reality, it paints a completely different picture. When archaeologists actually found the tombs of the workers themselves, they found something amazing. These were not the mass graves you'd expect for a disposable workforce. What they found was basically a lost city, a huge, organized settlement that supported 20,000 people. They had industrial-sized bakeries, facilities for processing fish, and get this, bone analysis shows the workers were eating prime cuts of beef. That is not slave food. Even crazier, their skeletons show really complex bone fractures that had been set and healed. That means they had doctors taking care of them. These were skilled, valued professionals, not slaves.
And then, in one of the most incredible discoveries of the last 100 years, we found a first-hand account. The actual diary of a guy named Mirer, a crew foreman. It's a logbook, and it details his team's day-to-day job of boating these massive limestone blocks to the pyramid site. It's unbelievable. It connects us directly to the real people who built this thing.
All right, so now for the million-dollar question. The how. How did this well-fed, highly skilled workforce physically get millions of tons of stone up to the height of a modern skyscraper?
Just to remind you of the insane challenge here, we're talking about more than 2 million blocks. The average one weighs about as much as a car, and they are fitted together so perfectly you can't even slide a piece of paper between them. For years, the main theory was a giant ramp on the outside, but that ramp would have been its own colossal project.
This has led to a really compelling new idea. What if we've been looking in the wrong place this whole time? What if the main ramp wasn't on the outside at all, but was actually on the inside, a kind of internal spiral hallway that corkscrewed its way up just behind the outer stones as the pyramid got taller?
And here is where it gets really exciting. This isn't just a guess. Using modern scanning tech, stuff like microgravimetry, which can measure tiny changes in density inside the stone, scientists have detected a strange low-density anomaly inside the pyramid, a path that winds its way up in a spiral, exactly where this internal ramp would have to be.
And it's not just data on a computer screen. There are actual physical clues to back this up. High up on one of the pyramid's corners, there's this weird-looking notch. and it leads to a small, unfinished room. Incredibly, this room is located at the exact spot where the internal ramp theory says there would need to be a kind of turning point, an open space to pivot the giant blocks. The clues are all starting to line up.
But you know what? This story of discovery is far from over. In fact, you could say we're in a new golden age of pyramid exploration, all thanks to technology that builders couldn't have even dreamed of.
So now, scientists are using particles that rain down from space, they're called muons, to literally see inside the pyramid without touching a single stone. Just think of it like a giant cosmic X-ray machine. By tracking how these particles pass through the stone, they can map out solid areas and, this is the important part, any hidden empty chambers.
And using this exact technology, an international team made a discovery that just blew everyone away. They found a huge, previously unknown void, about as long as a blue whale, just floating there in the stone above the main hallway, the Grand Gallery. We still have no idea what it's for, but its discovery proves the pyramid has not given up all its secrets.
So when you get right down to it, this ancient monument isn't a cold case file. It's an active investigation. Every new clue, whether it's a 4,500-year-old logbook or a little blip on a cosmic ray detector, gets us one step closer to understanding one of the greatest things humanity has ever built. And it just leaves you wondering, after all this time, what are we going to find next?